Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on What's Hot. I'm Shereen. Bhan. The top 5 that we're tracking for you this evening. Dramatic twists and turns in the battle for Maharashtra. The Shiv Sena seeks 2 more days from the governor to form the next government. The governor refuses. No letter of support yet from either the NCP or the Congress. And that is where Maharashtra stands. Industrial production contracts for the second month in a row. IIP in September shrinks by 4%. Consumer durables, power generation and mining taking the worst hit. Government sources say GDP growth in Q2 could be below 5%. The Central Board of Direct Taxes raises doubts over FY20 revenue projections. Sources say the CBDT has informed the Parliamentary Committee on Finance that budget projections will be difficult to meet after the first half of the year, so revenues grow just 2%. The budget had projected an annual growth rate of over 11%. Credit flow to the commercial sector slowed to 6% in Q2, claims a Credit Suisse report. Also highlights that NBFCs may continue to struggle as debt market and mutual funds remain reluctant to lend. PSU banks are close to exhausting their limits to NBFCs. Delhi police used water cannons on JNU students who were protesting a 300% hike in hostel fee. The protests are called off after university management agrees to meet students on the 15th of November to discuss the issue. But the protests force HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank to stay inside the university for 6 hours. Well, we'll come to all of that in just a bit, but first up to Dalal Street, where the Bulls and the Bears were engaged in a tug-of-war that ended in a draw. The Sensex and the Nifty ended barely in the green after a last-hour recovery wiped out most of the losses. Nifty remains above the 11,900 mark. Mid-caps fared better than the blue chips, but bank stocks were the toast of the day. The index rallied over 1%, with all 12 Nifty bank stocks ending in the green. So that was the picture for the markets. Now, after a day of hectic politicking in Mumbai and the capital, the suspense over government formation in Maharashtra is far from over. A delegation of Shiv Sena leaders led by Aditya Thackeray met the governor to stake claim to form the government. This after Uddhav Thackeray met Sharad Pawar this morning. Sources say Thackeray also held phone conversations with Sonia Gandhi. All indications earlier today were that NCP will form the government with the Sena and Congress will offer outside support. But neither the Sena nor the BJP have given official letters of support to the Sena before they met the governor. Aditya Thackeray said the party has asked the governor for 2 more days to form the government, but that request was turned down. Here's how the numbers stack up. The majority mark in the 288-member assembly is 145. The Shiv Sena has 56 MLAs, the NCP has 54, and the Congress has 44. Together, they're comfortably above the halfway mark. Meanwhile, both the Congress and the NCP have kept their cards close to their chest. The Congress says it needs to hold further discussions with the NCP before taking a call on supporting the Sena.
Both the parties have been speaking to us. The MLAs have been speaking to us. Of course, as the talks are on, as the second largest party, it was our right to be coming here. The governor, honorable governor, had called us. We spoke to His Excellency. We've asked him for 48 hours extension because we have, as per the wordings of the letter, we have expressed our willingness to form government. We are still willing to form government to give a stable and truthful, honest government to Maharashtra. I believe that today Maharashtra needs a stable government and honest government, and Shiv Sena will be able to provide it. We are working on it. We, within the 24-hour span, have come here and spoken about it.
We have already issued a press note, and we have mentioned that we have already discussed with working committee members and also our PCC president and other leaders, and our AICC president also spoken to Sharad Pawar, and further discussion will take place tomorrow in Bombay, or further whatever arrangement we have to make, that we will talk. Beyond this, there is nothing.
That's Mallikarjun Kharge there of the Congress party saying more discussions will happen with the NCP in Mumbai to make further arrangements. Maria Shakil joins us now. Maria, it looked like there would be closure today, but it doesn't seem that way. One side of the story is that perhaps this is the Congress party's way, the central leadership trying to distance itself from the decision, not seeming too eager to join hands with the Shiv Sena, and eventually this will get stitched together, courtesy Sharad Pawar. What are you picking up?
Well, what sources in the NCP are telling me, Shereen, is this, that yes, the talks are in the final stages, but because they want the Congress party to be on board before a final letter of support is given to the Shiv Sena, and that is the reason why there are several rounds of talks that are going on. In fact, Sonia Gandhi had also had a word with Sharad Pawar soon after the Congress Working Committee actually took this decision that they need more time. There have been consultations that were held by Sonia Gandhi with also the MLAs, the 44 MLAs of the Congress party, who have shown willingness. In fact, all 44 are of the opinion that not only should the Congress support the government, but they should also join the government, and hence the Congress is in a bit of a dilemma. Likes of Prithviraj Chavan and others who are leaders from the state are also of the opinion that this has meant, and this can lead some kind of paradigm shift in the politics and the approach that the Congress has had to the Hindutva politics, and hence they have an opportunity to redefine themselves. At the same time, because there was this talk that took place between Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar at that hotel in Mumbai. In fact, there was also a call that was made by Uddhav Thackeray to Sonia Gandhi seeking support. It was almost seen that this was about optics, and that discussion is almost through, that the deal is sealed. But it looks like that there are certain issues that have to be ironed out. But I think, Shereen, it has got even more difficult for the NCP, Shiv Sena and the Congress combined now, with the governor clearly turning down that request that was made by the Shiv Sena for giving them 48 hours. I'm not too sure if the Shiv Sena will now get another chance now, and what will the governor do, we really do not know, because Advocate General will again be advising the governor of Maharashtra about what is the next course of action.
Yes, and that is going to be crucial now. What is the decision that the governor takes? If the governor calls for president's rule, Maria, then the game is wide open again.
Yes, absolutely, Shereen. And look, even as we speak, the BJP is going to hold a press conference, is what we are being told. BJP's election in charge of Maharashtra, Bhupendra Yadav, is very much in Mumbai. The BJP for the longest time, even this morning, Shereen, sources in the party have been telling me that they are waiting and watching, because they know fully well that it will be difficult for these three parties to come together and all completely iron out differences, given the kind of ideological differences that they have. But again, because this has happened in the last 1 hour with the NCP and the Congress not formally giving a letter of support to the Shiv Sena, it has become very difficult for the Shiv Sena now to move ahead. What will they be doing? Well, it looks like, again, as we have been saying, this uncertainty, if it continues, the state is heading for a president's rule.
All right, Maria, we'll keep coming back to you. This is a story that is developing practically with every minute that passes. So far, no conclusion, no closure. Maharashtra continues to be without a government. Now, India's industrial output continued to contract for the second month in a row after a 1.4% contraction in August. IIP for the month of September has shrunk by 4.3%. This is the steepest fall that we've seen in more than 8 years. The manufacturing index, which holds bulk of the weight in the IIP, contracted nearly 4%. Consumer durables taking the biggest hit in September, shrinking by nearly 10%. Almost all the components of the IIP except intermediate goods. With this contraction, the chorus for a rate cut is likely to get louder. Some economists say the next monetary policy could see a sharp cut of even 50 basis points. Economists also say this data will put the government's 3.3% fiscal deficit target under threat.
Is quite weak. I mean, what this is indicating. So there is a momentum effect also. Though the Q3 will definitely be better than the Q2. I think there will be some lift. I think the base effect also comes into play. And I think Q4, it will gradually inch up. So I think we will have to redo our numbers, which we were anyway planning to do. We are just in the process of redoing our entire global and domestic numbers. So I think we'll come out with our outlook soon.
It is transitory. We do expect 50 basis points. Now, looking at fiscal deficit, right, even if it goes up a little bit, to that extent, what is the worry? One has to look at it, right? Let's say maybe 0.3, 0.4% fiscal deficit widening. Will it really impact inflation in the current situation? The answer is probably no, right? If it's not impacting inflation, and the growth is so bad and so low, and as per their mandate, if inflation is in control, they should go in for the cut. So cut is fine, but of course, fiscal deficit number changing, the bond players may not be that happy.
Most of the indicators have been deteriorating as we look at the movement from August to September. So September has been a really bad month when it comes to the high frequency data. So we do expect that, the second quarter GDP is definitely going to see the impact of all of this, high frequency data, which is completely getting deeper and deeper into red. It doesn't really bode well. I mean, as a matter of fact, the breakup that you mentioned from the use-based side as well, the non-durable goods segment as well, which is contracted at 0.4%, which has been, at least for the last 9-10 months, it has been in the positive territory.
Well, that's economist Supasna Bhardwaj there on the IIP data and what that could mean for the GDP print. Now, staying with that story, GDP growth may not see an uptick in the coming quarter. Government sources tell CNBC TV18 the GDP may come in at below 5% in Q2. Sapna joins us now with more. Sapna, we're dealing with that IIP number contraction of 4.3%. What are you picking up on the likelihood of the Q2 GDP print being below 5%?
Well, if you look at the government circles, more or less certain that the second quarter GDP number that's likely to be out end of November, this is expected to be below 5%. It's almost as certain as what we are being told. If you look at not just the August and the September numbers, but even if you look at April to September, the entire H1, I suppose IIP as a whole has been, in the negative territory. So that does not forebode well for the economic growth. So below 5% is the expectation for Q2. How much below 5% probably, will be a matter of detail. I am being able to understand probably around 4.8 or 9%, but that is something that we have not really gone ahead with. However, just looking at the broad being below 5% for Q2. The other issue that will now come up also the fact that, RBI has substantively kind of scaled down the numbers for the full fiscal. I suppose at some point in time, the Q2 number coming below 5%, possibly there could be some impact as far as the annual forecast is also concerned. And it will be important to see what forecast the government really goes with. Various rating agencies have done their own estimates for FY20. RBI's FY20 estimate really stands out. We'll have to wait and watch and see, where the government would like to peg its number. Last but not the least, there will be some concern as far as the nominal GDP growth numbers are also, are also come into play. I suppose your Q1 nominal GDP was around 8%, which is, much lower than the annual requirement of around 10.5 to 11% is what government had earlier estimated. So this will also create problems as far as their fiscal calculations are concerned. But then again, that's a story that we have to wait and watch out for.
Absolutely. Sapna, appreciate you joining us. So that's the take. Government sources saying that they expect Q2 GDP print to come in below 5%. Now, the Central Bureau of Direct Taxes has cast doubts about meeting the government's revenue projections for the financial year. Sources tell CNBC TV18 that the CBDT has informed the Parliamentary Panel on Finance that the budget estimates will be, and I quote, difficult to meet. According to sources, the CBDT told parliamentarians